The 95% rule, from a substantive standpoint, arose out of a presentation that has become sort of my go-to presentation, in which I go over 29 things that I have found to be true in employment law. And if clients will understand and accept that these 29 things are immovable for all intents and purposes, then the more that they can focus on the things they can change. One of my business development mentors and influential in writing a book, a guy named Scott Miller, talks about move the movable. And so if you take the 29 things that are in the 95% rule that I think are intractable, I don't think that you can get around them. 5% of employees cause 95% of the problems. You're more likely to do something stupid after you drink 3 beers. No jokes are funny in front of a jury. These sorts of things, once you accept those things as true, then we can go over on focus the things that we have control, a little more control over, and focus on our circle of influence, not just our circle of concern, like Covey says. So that became the topic of the book, and I've been doing this forever. It was just getting those things on paper that the book was there, and that was also born out of laziness. I spend most of my time arguing with clients about why these things do apply, and so we can have a $700 an hour discussion on why you don't think they apply, or you can spend $31.99 on a book and read that. I take it so seriously. I spent all of that time to write it, so you don't have to spend the money on it.
Yeah. It's not just a stump speech for the sake of hearing yourself speak. So let's just start off with the 95% versus 5% rule, right? So I found that really interesting because we all tend to fall into that trap of worrying about and paying attention to that 5% of staff that are really the squeaky wheel and the real challenge. And then it was kind of interesting to me because your perspective is like, what if we just paid attention to the good ones? Mm-hmm. And it was almost like reading Clifton's Strengths Finders for the first time, where I was like, right. I mean, like, some things I can't fix, so let's pay attention over here. But
most good ideas are pretty simple at the end of the day. And that's the mistake I see so many people making. And it's a matter of wanting to be right. Another great business development mentor I had, Steve Sunshine, he talked about the deliciousness of being right. And so where we face an employment law problem where somebody's accused our client of being a bigot or a misogynist or not paying them properly or retaliating against them for some reason, that's an insult. And they want to prove that they didn't do that. They want to clear their name. And my point is that I don't think that you can ever convince one of the 5%ers in that instance that they're gonna that you are what they say you are, or not what they say you are. And so once we recognize that we're not going to convince them, we can move on to the productive point, move the 5%er on out to a different opportunity. Maybe they find their purpose elsewhere. You're doing them a favor as well, believe it or not. And we can take whatever we were going to spend on Stanton Law and put it towards the 95%, the people who show up at work on time, they do their best effort, they make us money, and then they go home and don't really cause us problems. And if we can put our resources towards them rather than the ones who we were trying to get rid of and put in a rearview mirror, then better off.